Hello and welcome back to the Librarian of the Rings. Today we're talking all about the color pairings that you will see in the Hobbit's pre-release this weekend. There are 5 color pairings here. Each of these represents one of the armies from the Battle of 5 Armies in the Hobbit, which I really like that they went with this thematically because it means that you're going to see a lot of play from the different groups and it's going to feel more like the Hobbit is going on. So what are these 5 pairings? Well, first up you have blue-white, which is the human pairing here. Humans continue in the same color pairing that they were in the Lord of the Rings. This time they're relying on the recruit mechanic and the second draw mechanic, which plays with the recruit mechanics. So this is a go wide strategy, and then there are things that will trigger off of drawing your second card, which recruit will facilitate. Next up you have red-white, which is going to be the dwarves. Dwarves are changing their color from what they were in the Lord of the Rings where they were red-green. They're now red-white, and their primary mechanic is storied. Storied says that you gain an enduring story if you have 3 things which are the historic cards. You need to have 3 of either legendaries, artifacts, and or sagas. So 3 of those and you get an enduring story. When you get an enduring story, that means that you are going to get some kind of buff off of a lot of your dwarfs, but you aren't going to get anything until you have that enduring story. So it takes a little bit of time to get it. Once you get it though, it never goes away even if you lose those cards. All right, the third one is going to be the bad guys. The goblins are black-red, and they are going to rely on the amass mechanic. So this is very similar to the orcs from the Lord of the Rings set. They're still black and red, and they're still relying on amass. This time you're amassing a goblin army, but the mechanic is the same. You're going to create a token and then put a +1/+1 counter on it. Every time you amass while you have an army, you're going to put the +1 counters onto that. So the idea is to get really big. They have a secondary kind of theme, which is sacrifice, and you can sacrifice those tokens as well, but that may not be good at the late game, but at the early game where you've just got like a 1 or a 2, it's going to be a good way to use those sack outlets. All right, fourth, we have black and green, which is the wolves. So the wolves, or they're known as the wargs in the Hobbit, those are going to be your black-green, and they rely on a new mechanic called Ferocious. Ferocious cares about whether you have a creature with power 4 or greater. If you do, the cards with Ferocious are going to get a buff. And so there's a lot of mechanics in here that cause you to get a 4 or greater. Like you can play a card and put a +1/+1 counter on it. It was a 3, now it's a 4, activating your Ferocious. And lastly, you have the elves, which are blue and green, and they rely on the landfall mechanic. This honestly is probably the easiest mechanic to play because you're going to be playing land anyway. And so if you have the elves out, you landfall, and then you're going to get the buff or the effect or whatever. And one of the things that's going to happen a lot is you're going to be able to buff a creature, or you're going to be able to create 1/1 elves. And so you can go wide and large, which is a typical green kind of mechanic there. So the question is, which of these should you play? Well, obviously that's going to depend on what you open up. All of the colors have a similar amount of cards, ranging somewhere between 27 and 29 cards in the set. And then each of the color pairings has about 5 cards in the set. Now, some of those are ones where you need both, and some of those are hybrid mana, which means that you only need one or the other to play them. But your best bet, like I said last time, is to go with the color that you have the most removal in. What you wouldn't want to do is play a color pairing that doesn't match one of these archetypes. You don't want to try and go red and green in this set because they don't mesh together well. You're not going to get any of your hybrid colors in that set. Stick with one of these pairings, the one that you have the most removal in and the best rare cards in. That's kind of what you're going to look at and how you're going to choose to play this. But the one I like the best is the dwarves in red and white. Now, of course, thematically, I think the dwarves are the best. Also, the reason I really like them here is because they have really good removal. If you watched my last video about removal, you'll know that they have some of the best removal in the set. You'll be able to get that storied mechanic about halfway through the game, and then you will be able to have all of these buffs coming in on you and really be able to overwhelm your opponent. The trick though is you do want to be conscious about your evasion because there's quite a bit of flying in this game, so you do want to watch out. Blue has quite a bit of flying, of course, and then there's also flying in all of the other colors because red's primary flying is in dragon, and you may not be able to get that dragon out very quickly. Again, the one I think will be easiest to play will be the elves, just because landfall doesn't require a lot of strategy. You can just kind of go out and do it. The trick to elves is their most powerful card, Thranduil, has a 3rd color on him. He also has black, and so you will need to splash black in if you pull him, which he is mythic, so you probably won't, but if you do and you want to play him, you will need black in there as well. Okay, that's it for the 5 color pairings representing the 5 armies in the Hobbit Magic the Gathering set. Drop down in the comments below. Let me know what you think the best color pairing is and what you are planning to play this weekend.